Welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name's Fahim.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday to you all. And folks, it's episode 37.
Wow. 37.
Yo. First of all, 3 and 7 are lucky numbers, so this episode is going to be hot fire. Fahim, please introduce who we got.
All right, so just buckle your seatbelts because this is someone I've known for a while, and I must say there's like a certain circle of people that I really respect their insight in regards to sports, and he's one of them. So let's welcome Dudley to the podcast today.
Dudley. Hey, Dudley, man. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How's everyone tonight?
We're good, just chilling.
Upper.
So we want to have the viewers to get to know you a bit more. So, Dudley, name your top 3 sports that you follow or that you love.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So big basketball fan. And that's NBA and of course you gotta love the tournament. It's great. Huge NFL fans. There's a little thing called the NFL draft happening tonight. I don't know.
As we speak.
A little bit of a sports story. I don't know. I would probably say maybe next hockey. But I'm a general sports fan. I love track. Formula One, golf, tennis, like everything.
Everything. And that's true because I think Nadal just won just recently too in the recent Open. So that's dope. So as you talk about NFL and draft, as we speak, y'all, we're recording on draft night. Now, the biggest story out of the draft thus far, as of now, is pick number 3. Trey Lance. Everyone's saying it's a shock, it's a surprise, but for most avid football fans, they're not shocked. So what's your thoughts on the Trey Lance pickup by the 49ers?
Well, Nelly J, great question, and happy to be part of episode 37. And 3 is my favorite number, always has been since I was a kid.
I like 7,
lucky number 3.
Seven's my number. So
I like 3 and 7.
There we go.
The same thing, yeah.
And the 49ers are one of the 2 teams that I do follow closely. And following that team, I think it's important, Nelly J, to really kind of take some context in terms of the pick that they made and with what happened earlier today with the apparent trade rumors that were happening between San Francisco and Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers, which apparently fell through. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. It seems really messy. I'm sure there's more tea to be spilt about this, but anyways, just a little bit. San Francisco was in desperate need of a quarterback. They run the football a lot. Everybody runs. And Jimmy Garoppolo was the understudy to Tom Brady in New England. And I think they were hoping that he would become like Tom Brady, and he's not. It hasn't really worked out. So, I think it's a good pickup for them.
Oh, that's cool. And question, right? Because I think we were all shocked. Aaron Rodgers wants to get the hell out. Now, we spoke earlier about how Dwayne Watson may have started a trend because we know Dwayne was like adamant. Deshaun Watson, was adamant saying that I don't want to stay in Houston. And then we have another quarterback coming out of the realm saying, I don't want to stay in Green Bay. What's happening in the NFL? Like, are the owners afraid? Like, are they scared that these QBs are now speaking out against them?
Well, maybe it's the James Harden magic dust effect. I don't know. Maybe it's coming. The beard is coming into the NFL. Good or bad. It is a little strange because these are top tier quarterbacks. These are not just somebody just on a practice roster somewhere. Like, these are elite players that are promoting the league that want to leave. Hopefully. With this Aaron Rodgers situation, I'm not even sure how it will get resolved, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure what they'll do with it. And it's just so out of the blue that, there were some rumblings last year, but now this is really boiled over. So maybe it was just rumbling and we didn't realize, and now it's just gone over. So,
yeah. And to add to that, Patrick Mahomes tweeted today, he's like, well, draft weekend is going to be pretty interesting. So the draft's happening tonight, but we all know in draft night, things can change, right? Trades can happen over the weekend. Players can switch up. So as of now, Trey Lance being on 49ers is great. And I think Garoppolo can help him because, Garoppolo was trained by Tom Brady and by Belichick. Big up those two goats. Yep. So he has some knowledge, right? So for Trey Lance, I mean, the only thing is that he went to a school that wasn't D1, right? But he has a perfect season. That's still hard to do. I don't care what division you're playing. Having a perfect season is not easy, especially in football in America. I don't care what division you're playing in, right? So let's see what happens, guys.
Wow. Absolutely. I wish him nothing but success.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So for him, let's get into the show and talk about some hot topics.
All right. So Vladdy Jr. First of all, let's give it up for Vladdy.
Vladdy.
That's right.
Vladdy Jr.
Had a historic night just the other night. He had grand slam, 3 homers. He's looking like the star that we thought he was going to be. What's your thoughts on Vladdy?
I'm happy. I think for him, you're the one. I remember when we first got him, you're like, Janelle, don't worry, this guy, trust me, he's the future. And I was like, okay, let's see. But honestly, I am so happy. I think he's number 3 in ratings right now, in terms of batting. So I am just very happy that the Blue Jays have a superstar that we can pivot on. But no, I think he's the youngest to ever have a 7 RBI, 3 homer night, I believe. He's the youngest to ever do it.
Youngest ever, yeah.
Yeah, it's historic, and he's a Blue Jay. So it's great to have someone on our team. I'm very excited, and I know the Blue Jays. I mean, the Raptor fans, we're out of it. So I think Blue Jays doing well, and the Leafs doing well in Toronto must still be good, right? So how about you? How about you, Dudley?
Well, it's great, and when he came on, onto the Jays, and obviously the little Canadian connection with his father playing as in Montreal those years ago, it was a nice transition, something Toronto fans could hang their hat on. It's always nice to have that, and to see him, the promise of him from last year, you're now seeing it this year, and his batting average is just season is early still, but it is just wow. Just check, he's 346, I believe.
Yeah,
he's batting for the season. That's just unbelievable. And he is looking like Fahim said, he's looking like the star that we would hope. And it's a nice pivot from Jose Bautista, because he was that name brand star in Toronto for so many years. And of course, the bat flip is one of those Toronto sports moments. And we can add Vladdy Guerrero Jr. to another Toronto baseball sports moment. So
right. So it's funny that you mentioned Bautista. So Bautista, he was the guy when he was here, and yeah, we have Springer. Vladdy is younger and promising. When you look to even ESPN in the States, when you talk about Toronto, I know Springer has been away, but it's just been all about Vladdy. He has the marquee name and a marquee look. What I found interesting is this. That night, when he had the 3 homers, he doesn't speak English, so he had to do it through an interpreter. I guess I'm going to throw this question out. You mentioned Bautista, Dudley, and Bautista, when he was here, he had sponsorships, but he wasn't he was the franchise, but his sponsors were kind of muted. He wasn't they didn't brand him as the superstar. How do you feel about Vladdy? Okay, he's born, first of all, in Montreal when his dad played for the Expos. So he's born in Canada, but was raised in the DR, right? But he doesn't speak English. I'm just wondering, how does that affect his marketability in a market like Canada, not speaking English?
Well, Fahim, that's a really good question. And obviously, you think about marketability, you think about an ad, and you think about somebody saying something, whether it's Roberto Alomar saying "catch the taste," or
the taste,
or the Bautista. There's a little throwback there, or the Bautista booster juice ads. And he really didn't say a lot in those ads, but he was batting practices and hitting out, drinks to people and whatnot.
Right, and pictures and posters of him just holding a baseball bat. It spoke, just looking at it spoke for itself, right?
It spoke for itself, exactly. So from a marketability standpoint, obviously, their limitations, but a star is a star, whether they have a strong command of English language or not. And Toronto being such a multicultural place, I think they can position him where even if it's just a few words for him to say, he can get that message across, because he really is somewhat of a larger than life figure. He's got the look of a star, but he also has the name of a star. And he's the son of a star, but he's a star in his own right. So
he's the galaxy. He's the galaxy.
Yeah. So it's, he's kind of like Toronto or Canadian sport royalty. He's like the crown prince of, you think of it in that sense from a baseball standpoint. So I think that, any company that's, that wants to put their brand behind him or put him in front of their brand, I think they're doing themselves a service, because he is bankable.
Agreed.
Extremely likable, especially when he's hitting like this.
Exactly. And to add what you said, Dudley, like, I just think that in Toronto, we've been dying for a superstar. And I don't think we care in what sport. Like, I don't care if he speaks English, if he speaks French, like, it doesn't really matter to us. Like, if you're going to help us win games and put Toronto on the map, you're marketable. Because our city's like that. Like, if we're winning, owners are happy, and you get sponsorship from those owners. So as long as he's doing what he's been doing, and of course, like, for me, I was just proud seeing a Blue Jay star on like ESPN and on Bleacher Report. Like, everyone posted. I'm like, wow, it's so good to see someone from Toronto being posted and being like celebrated on all these American websites. So that in itself is marketing for us. So I really think he's a problem, to be honest, when it comes to marketing.
And I agree. I'm just kind of throwing it out. The reason being is I think of in boxing, you have Canelo Alvarez. He's Mexican. Pound for pound, best boxer in the world. Understands English somewhat, but refuses to speak it. And I'm wondering if, now I know baseball is a team sport and boxing is an individual sport. I get that dynamic, but I'm just seeing Canelo, we don't really know much about him outside of the ring. And I think the fact that he can't really speak the language that relates to the fans might make it a little bit harder for them to find ways to market him. And that's what I was thinking in regards to Vladdy. It was a great night. I understand, like, I'm not knocking him because he doesn't speak English at all. What I am stating though is that a night like that, when they are asking, talking to you about your experience of what just happened in the moment, just kind of going through a translator, when he's not, I wouldn't say new to the country. He's been here for a few years, that's all. I'm just wondering what kind of difference, even hearing him express himself in English, if that would make any difference. That's why I was just asking. That's all.
Yeah.
I think there will always, be some benefit in, for anyone who's expressing themselves to hear them in their native language. That being said, excitement is excitement. You can't bottle that up.
Right.
And, Anderson Silva is, arguably the greatest fighter in UFC history, pound for pound. And he is Brazilian and speaks Portuguese. And it doesn't matter what language he's speaking, you know what he's saying.
Facts.
True. So in regards to Andrew Wiggins, let's actually, since we're keeping it Canadian content here with Vladdy being Canadian, let's transition to Andrew Wiggins, Canadian NBA player, being the first NBA player to reach 10,000 points.
Canadian-born player.
Canadian-born player. Yes, Canadian-born player.
Good catch. To reach 10,000 points. So we got to give it up for Wiggins. What I have to say is, I heard that. I should feel excited, but I think I'm kind of spurned. I'm a little torn in regards to Andrew Wiggins. In regards to, I kind of feel like that is an achievement, but I'm seeing his career as kind of a disappointment. So it's a balance here. I guess we're not going to discredit him. He got 10,000. I'm like, whoa, we got 10,000 points. Congratulations. First Canadian born. Congratulations. Well, but then I just have to think back to his career.
So question, right? Because Steve Nash had 17,000 career points, but Steve Nash wasn't born in Canada.
No, he
Yeah, he was born in
South
South Africa.
Born in South Africa, right? Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, because I guess in Canada's Hall of Fame, like Steve Nash is #1, but yeah, Wiggins is the first, I guess, born in Canada.
Canadian born, right.
Yeah, so we'll clarify that.
Yeah. So I don't know. What are you guys thinking about this? Like, that's quite an achievement. But on the flip side, when we talk about Andrew Wiggins, I don't know about anyone who really gets excited or even has a positive train of thought with him. What do you say, Mr. Dutt?
Well, Andrew Wiggins, I think where maybe some of your disappointment might be coming from. Not to put words in your mouth. Not that
no. Yeah. Put it in.
Not that I ever could. Right, LJ? It doesn't work, right? No.
Yeah,
no.
Listen, Fahim hasn't been kind to Andrew Wiggins since I think like year 3, year 4, he has not been a fan of Andrew Wiggins. But also, I think it's because Andrew didn't play for Canada, Team Canada. That was
one of the reasons.
One of the reasons why you weren't really a true fan of his. But yeah, go ahead, Dudley.
And I think another reason as well, because I recall some conversation with him when Andrew was at Kansas, and he's playing beside Embiid. I think Fahim was a little more of an Embiid fan than an Andrew Wiggins fan, but that might have come into play. But we did agree that Embiid would have a great career, and he has. But was about Andrew Wiggins. So with Wiggins, maybe the disappointment is coming from the fact that he was at the time the most highly recruited player coming out of, I guess, high school, going into college, and so there was so much the most highly recruited since LeBron James. So at the time when he was coming in, so he was essentially the next LeBron James. And since then, the next one has been Zion. So kind of looking at those kind of like those 3 little bookmarks, LeBron, Wiggins, and Zion. And I know I might be making Fahim's case for him on this. However, I will say this. He was the #1 overall pick. And has he played like a #1 overall pick? Some may say yes, some may say no. I would say probably not as much, because when you think about top 5, top 10, top 15 players, Andrew Wiggins' name will never be brought up in today's NBA. And even, earlier on in his career, probably still wouldn't have been brought up. So I think that's fair. But at the same time, though, it's a great milestone for a Canadian-born player. And you look at the list of who else is Canadian-born. Obviously, Steve Nash is on there because he is Canadian, but just not born in Canada. But when you look at the others that are on there, Kelly Olynyk's on there. I believe Tristan Thompson's on that list. Jamal Murray, I think he's just going to blow right by that. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and RJ Barrett are like, they're only 20, 21, thereabouts. They're very, very young, and they're really good. And I think you're just seeing a great progression of Canadian basketball. So for me, for him, I'm looking at it as a win-win for Canada. And I am looking forward to one day these great young Canadian talents to get together and represent Team Canada, whether it's at Olympics or a World Basketball Championship. Perhaps it may change your opinion if Wiggins does join the team then.
No, good point. And you know what? Like you said, I think like the most impactful Canadian player, because he's won a ring, or hasn't won a ring. Steve Nash, of course, we know he's our top player. But born Canadian, I would say Rick Fox, right? People forget about Rick Fox. Rick Fox, yes, he has championship. He's an NBA champion, right? And no one ever. And also, he was pretty critical in like those finals too when it comes to the Lakers. So we can't forget Rick Fox up there. But Andrew Wiggins surpassed Rick Fox, which he should have. But you know what? I think LeBron made it look easy, right? LeBron was always destined to be great, and the pressure he had from when he was like 15, he lived up to it and surpassed it in front of the entire world. And that just showed you that his tenacity was built into him. I don't think Andrew Wiggins had that drive. I don't think he did. Like, I think Andrew wanted to play basketball, but I don't think he wanted to surpass LeBron or be better than LeBron. He wanted to just be a good player and play for a good team. And that's okay, right? However, for us as fans, it sucks because we thought he would be like a LeBron. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes we project what we expect from players to do. But some players, honestly, I think just want to play basketball and win a ring and have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're not trying to break records or like Westbrook, get triple doubles. Like some players, all they care about is just playing basketball. And Andrew Wiggins is that player. Now, will his mindset change? I don't know. I know right now, I think we saw Stephen A said that he would trade Andrew Wiggins for a box of cookies. because he thinks Andrew Wiggins is weighing down the Warriors. I don't think so. I think Andrew Wiggins was not meant to be a second option. I think he should be a third option, and that's the most he should be. I think coaches put him second and first because he has the size and the skills to be a first option, but I don't think he wants that mentally. I think he wants to be comfortable. So if they can keep Andrew and Klay comes back, I think they're going to have a very good dynamic with Klay, Steph, and Draymond with Andrew Wiggins. Yeah. But if I'm Golden State, I won't trade him yet because I think he is a good third option. And I think he's someone that they can rely on. But seeing him as second option to Steph, I think that's too much pressure for him, to be honest. My opinion.
I understand. Congratulations to Andrew Wiggins, first Canadian born, 10,000 points. Must say, though, LeBron seemed to have got it right. LeBron could have played with him, opted not to for a reason. And his accolades that he has so far in the league is he was Rookie of the Year and NBA First Team All-Rookie.
And that's huge. That's huge.
And yes, and it's 2021. So in the last 6 years, he hasn't done anything. But what he has done is got to 10,000 points. So salute and congratulations. And continue the ball going.
Yes, absolutely.
And play for Team Canada. Play for Team Canada, Andrew. Don't do that to us, man. Play for the country, bro. Sorry, go ahead, Fahim.
All right, so Nelly J, let's go to For the Culture.
All right, y'all. So For the Culture, we'd like to highlight individuals and organizations for the culture. And this week, we want to highlight someone really cool. So for those who don't know, this last week, Sunday, it was the Oscars, and a basketball player, I think the second one, because Kobe won for his show, but Kevin Durant, I guess, produced or co-produced a movie called Two Distant Strangers, and he's also now won an Oscar. They won for Best Live Action Short Film, and the directors were Trayvon Free, Martin Desmond-Rowe, and the writer was Trayvon Free as well. And Trayvon said it was inspired by George Floyd. And I don't want to give away the story, but it's about a man trying to get home to his dog, gets stuck in a time loop that has him relive a deadly run-in with a cop. What's your thoughts on this movie? I watched it. Guys, if you haven't watched it, go on Netflix. It's on there. Or Bortham was a password, but go on Netflix and watch it. It's about, half an hour long. Yeah. What's your thoughts on the movie, Dudley?
Thanks, LJ. I love movies. That's like my second passion, maybe my first passion. And so kudos and congrats to Kevin Durant. No shade at all. He definitely deserved whatever input that he put in there, because obviously it's for the culture, it's for a great cause, and a message and story needs to be told. And I'm a big believer in not spoiling things, and so I will also not spoil anything. That being said, I did watch it, and I found it to be very moving. I found it to be extremely timely, seeing that obviously we just had the verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial just last week or so, and so if you haven't seen it, please do take a look at it. It's 32 minutes long, and it's worth it because it really does highlight some of these systemic racism issues within the United States. And I think one of the scenes that really jumped out at me, without giving anything away, is you mentioned LJ, and this is in the promo on Netflix in terms of what the show's about or the film's about, but he is hiding certain items that he's wearing, and one of the items that he's wearing is a hoodie, and you see it in the in the trailer for or I guess the thumbnail, I should say, for the actual movie. You see him wearing this, so he's hiding it at one point, and it brought me back to some of the conversations, going back almost, I think it's like 10 years now almost, with Trayvon Martin, and how some people made comments in the media about, well, maybe he shouldn't have been wearing a hoodie or this and that. And it really jumped out at me and I was really thinking very critically about that piece, because it really jumps out at me thinking about, those type of comments. And, a hoodie is not in any way, shape or form a racialized piece of clothing. In any way, shape, or form. A hoodie is one of the most commonly worn items. NFL drafts happen right now, and all of those kids are wearing hoodies.
All of them.
You go to any mall, I guess, because pre-COVID, but what are kids wearing? hoodies. What are adults wearing? Hoodies. It's very comfortable. It helps you keep you warm on a cold day. And somehow, unfortunately, it's become somewhat racialized or there's a stereotype or bias associated with that article of clothing. And he's using that. He's hiding it, but it still doesn't allow him to escape the reality that he's living in. So I think for me, that really jumped out at me through the film.
No, honestly, that's a really good point, actually, because I didn't really catch that. But when you bring it up, I'm like, yeah, I remember that point. And just to add, sorry, guys, Mike Conley as well. Sorry. Mike Conley and Kevin Durant produced the movie. So big up Mike Conley. Fahim, what were your thoughts on the movie and anything you want to kind of talk about from what you saw?
Yeah, once again, I don't, like Dudley, I don't want to spoil anything for it. All we want to do is really make light of it so people can actually, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it. What I can say about the film is I was watching it. I went in knowing, honestly, I don't watch a lot of short films. I really don't. So I was thinking in regards to time commitment, I was like, wow, this is only 32 minutes. Like this is like a show, like a sitcom, you know what I'm saying? As I was watching, going in knowing this is short, I could say there's so much that happened. There's so much action that happened that they might have been halfway through, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And I'm sitting here saying, okay, this has got to be ending soon.
Me too. I had the same thing.
I'm like, this has got to be ending. But it's
so
not.
I paused it at one point and I'm like, hold on, how much time's left? This is the short film? Because I was like, after 10 minutes, I was like over it. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, like I've seen enough. Like it's a lot. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I was sitting and I was just like, okay, well, where are we? And then the action kept going. It was flowing. And the way it was flowing, the message, everything about it, I was really impressed. So I just want to stress everybody, if you haven't seen it, definitely go to Netflix. Check it out. I do want to we mentioned about Mike Conley Jr. And KD being the executive producer. So executive producers, they are not the ones that actually go behind the actual creating of the film, but they're they bankroll the money behind it, right?
Yep.
So we're not going to, and anyway, throw shots or discredit because, filmmakers need funding from somewhere. So just the fact that they stepped up, big up, right?
And also to add, Charlemagne said that they've had this film around like since George Floyd's death. They've been trying to get it like picked up. And I think the writer also had this kind of outline written before, but George Floyd influenced them. But the problem was getting someone to bankroll it. So Katie and Mike Conley doing this, it just shows that we need Black producers like them to help tell our stories, because if we don't support our own, then how can we, talk about ourselves anyways? But yeah, good point about that.
No, very good point. But the difference between Katie and Mike Conley in this short film and Kobe's short film, Dear Basketball, was Kobe wrote it and he narrated it. So like there was actual, like you're hearing Kobe's voice, and Kobe was like hands-on in regards to his Oscar. Not saying that these guys don't deserve, but there's, in regards to there's levels. Kobe was actually like knee deep in his film. So respect to Katie and Mike Conley for doing this, and also rest in peace and shout out to Kobe Bryant for being the first athlete to actually get an Oscar also. And maybe even by Kobe getting this Oscar may have inspired these guys to get involved also, and these guys getting involved can inspire others. So it's a good trend that's happening here. So it's great to see.
Absolutely.
I think with Kobe, it was just more of a real personal story. And if you haven't seen Dear Basketball, definitely check that out as well. But for folks out there listening or watching, but it was a very personal story. But again, whether it's in front of camera or behind the scenes, having that support is, as Emily J said, is integral to getting the message out there.
Yeah. And also like big up NBA players, man. Like I swear, I'm not sure if other leagues do this, but I feel like NBA players are always like doing things for the culture, like honestly. So just big up the entire NBA league, because a lot of those players that are Black, they really try to use the money that they make to help the culture, and it's just nonstop. So just big up the whole entire NBA, man. All of them.
Yeah. Big up.
All right, y'all. So let's go to the last segment. Fahim.
All right, let's go to That's Absurd.
That's absurd for him, bro. What was absurd this week? What was absurd?
What was absurd was the announcement that on
What announcement?
The announcement, June 6th, we're going to have Logan Paul, YouTube star, against Floyd Mayweather.
Hold up. Who asked the world to call him a GOAT in boxing, by the way? Okay. Who asked everyone to say I'm the best boxer? Would we ever see Mike Tyson fight a YouTube star or like Muhammad Ali? Like, come on. Like, anyways, Dudley, your thoughts on this fight? Like, I'm actually annoyed with Mayweather, actually, with Floyd.
Absurd.
I'm actually annoyed with him. Anyways.
Absurd.
Like, there's so many good boxers you can fight, Floyd. If you're bored, fight one of them. Like, real talk. Dudley?
Absolutely, LJ. I think absolutely absurd. When I first heard the news, it was just like, really? Why? Floyd, Money, Mayweather, you have more than enough money. You have enough money to literally stand there and burn it. And that's a whole other story. But you don't need it for the money. And like you said, Mike Tyson would never fight a YouTube star. And so, it's just, I'm not sure why he's doing it, but essentially he's taken the bait. And, it's interesting because at this past UFC this weekend, Jake Paul was trying to get some response from Daniel Cormier, and Cormier was like, I'm not having this. I'm not fighting a YouTube star. But he also apparently came at Usman as well.
Yeah.
Did you not just watch what Usman did?
Bro, you would die.
Did you not see the sweat flying off? Like this like maybe don't do that. So maybe perhaps it's to get views or whatnot. It seems like Mayweather took the bait. I'm not sure why he is. Maybe he really is bored and feels like this will be a nice light workout or something. I don't know. COVID has everyone a little bit cabin fevered, so perhaps it's that. I don't know. It's a way to get out, but either way, that's absurd.
Yeah,
well, one thing is the more money, more problems. And here's the thing with we all watch his pockets and say, hey, look at how much money he has. He also has a lot of expenses also. So sometimes a lifestyle, you have to maintain it, upkeep it, right? It's all relative. So for Floyd to be doing these big payouts, for instance, it's going to pay a lot more from the fight Logan Paul than maybe it's going to do to fight actual boxers that he, at this age, could be fighting, such as Errol Spence Jr., or Terrence Crawford. Like these are boxers that top level boxers that he's clearly ducking, and we all, everyone understands.
Ducking, soca song, like ducking.
With Floyd, my thing is, if he's gonna fight Logan Paul and do this exhibition type stuff, other boxers. Now, okay, see how you started, Nelly J? You're saying about other boxers didn't fight YouTube stars. Now, mind you, other boxers, there was no YouTube, but there was, with these other boxers, for instance, Muhammad Ali, he had exhibition fights with people who weren't boxers. It's not new or novel for boxers to retire and fight exhibition matches. I think the problem with Floyd is, Floyd, he's still... Yes, he's probably early 40s now.
He's still I guess more prime. Like, do you think he's at the last leg of his career, or do you think
most definitely? Okay. But the thing is, look at Manny Pacquiao is a year and a half less than him, and Manny Pacquiao is still to this day fighting challengers.
Yes, like good, like actually good boxers, not like YouTube stars.
Yeah. So with Floyd checking out the game early, history's going to remember this, you know what I'm saying? Like in regards to his status of wanting to be called the GOAT. When you look pound for pound, resume for resume, honestly, what Manny Pacquiao, his resume and what he's accomplished in his career, he may not be undefeated like Floyd, but Manny Pacquiao has a much more impressive boxing resume to leave with. But if Floyd, if it's all about the money, and I understand the play, do your thing.
It's all money. And I think, in the last, 2 months, the Paul brothers, Jake and Logan, have been getting a lot of clout. Their followers are very loyal and they bring money, right? Like you said, it's all about money. This is not about who's better. We all know Floyd is better, right? And if you're going to gamble that night, if you're going to gamble at all in your life, gamble on that fight because you should be making a lot of money in those odds. Now, however, like, what if Floyd throws the fight? I don't know. Honestly, guys, like, this is it's such a weird situation. But also, I'm wondering if Floyd wants to get back for, what happened with, like, Nate Robinson. Maybe, like, he wants to, like, avenge him with the Paul. I don't know, but, like, why? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like maybe, like, they want to silence the brothers. Like, I don't know. Anyways, all I'm saying is that for me, it's absurd that this is actually happening because I feel like Floyd could at least give other stars, young black boxing stars, a chance to pivot on the stage. And he's not doing that. He's fighting these chumps. Like, let's get some young stars that want to make it on the stage to kind of pass the torch to. You know what I mean? Like, fighting these other players isn't for the culture. It's for your pockets, which I can't respect. So Manny Pacquiao, to me, is here, and Floyd is still going to be down here. Sorry, Floyd. I said what I said. I said what I said.
I won't necessarily disagree with you, LJ. I'm a Pac-Man fan. I've always been a Pac-Man fan. I love Manny Pacquiao. I love his fighting style. And I think, he doesn't, take on these type of scenarios. So I think that will, help his own legacy. And fortunately or unfortunately, we have the two biggest stars in boxing that had two separate legacies at the same time when they could have been merged together.
Yeah.
But, time has not been kind for us as fans to be able to witness that.
And it's funny because his fighting weight is welterweight, which is like 147. Logan Paul's, I think he's 190.
Yeah, he's bigger.
Like, we're talking 3 weight classes higher. So that in itself should tell you something. He's willing to step in the ring with someone who weighs 30, 40 pounds more than him.
But I think he had to lose weight, right? That was why they agreed to it, to June.
Sure. Well, okay. Even if how much?
I mean, how much can you lose? But
how
still,
much is he really going to lose?
In a healthy capacity, right? And not like starve and get weak. But you're right. It's weird. Like, it's weird. Yeah. That's all I could say. Absurd.
Absurd.
I'll just say this. The only thing else I could add to it is that, he did fight Conor McGregor, in a boxing match. It was a bit sloppy. I can respect that more than a fight against either of the Paul brothers.
Yeah, I actually because remember, like, McGregor is a bigger name, and I remember he challenged him, right, Floyd. But again, like, the fact that Floyd is accepting, like, all these white boy challenges and not one black boy, interesting.
So are we looking at a big box office night for this?
Pardon me?
Views for this game? For this fight? Are we seeing a lot of views for this fight?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. But question for boxing fans, right? Do you think Floyd is making boxing like a joke by doing this? I'm just curious because, like boxing is a very unique or specific type fans, right? And, like, it's been respected for decades. You know what I mean? So by him doing this, do you think boxing has now become this, like, circuit show where, hey, challenge the top boxer in the world and you can get a fight if you get enough followers? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think what we need to do now, since Floyd is he's retired. He's openly retired, right? So
True.
Since he's openly retired, I think we need to disassociate him from boxing. He's no longer a boxer. He's an entertainer.
There we go. No, I think it has to happen because I think there's so many awesome boxers who take the craft very seriously, and they box for actual skill sets and for winning the belt, not just to get views and money. You know what I mean? Because that can take away the craft of boxing from the greats. So very good point, Fahim. I think so. How about you, Dudley?
Absolutely.
I think it's not a circuit show.
Well, I love what you said there. It is a great segue. In terms of the hardcore boxing fans are very different than even MMA fans. And I enjoy both. I am more of an MMA fan than a boxing fan, but I do appreciate the sweet science. But the hardcore boxing fans are very, firmly entrenched in what boxing should stand for, and the for lack of, just like the level of quality, if you will. And so, does this ultimately impact Mayweather's legacy? Probably not. At the same time, though, it will, I think personally, put some, at least a dent in the view of the hardcore boxing fan. The casual fan will love it, like you said, Nelly J, because it's going to create, it'll be a money machine. This fight will be a money machine. It will have ratings bonanza. You can pretty much sell anything you want, charge whatever you want for any advertising on this, because it will bring that casual fan in there. But for the hardcore boxing fan, are they going to be that excited about a Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight? No. They would rather see a Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight, or somebody else. So I think that's where, unfortunately, the money is moving, and Floyd took the bait.
Well said.
Well
Dudley.
said. Well said. All right, so let's put this episode in the books.
Ooh, y'all, that was episode 37.
That's right, 37.
So, Dudley, we love to give our guests a chance to do a shout out. So, my dear, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I do some volunteering work. I think volunteering is very important. And I do volunteer with a wonderful organization called Future Possibilities for Kids. It is an organization that teaches leadership skills with kids to provide or to come up with goals of contribution to give back to their communities. And I think that's infinitely important in today's day and age, with COVID going on, even prior to, but definitely with that happening, to engage kids, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. And so feel free to follow me on Instagram. The link's in my bio. It's at Mr. Duds. That's mr.dudz. And take a look. And by all means, if you have any questions, you can send me a message, or just take a look at FPK's website or follow them on Instagram as well.
Awesome. And guys, I will have the website info as well as his Instagram handle in our caption, so you can definitely check him out for sure. My shout out, I guess, for sure, number one is Dudley. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time, dropping some knowledge and some good gems tonight. I also want to shout out HBCU players that have been drafted in the NFL. Because these players paved the way, and I think there's 2 tonight that might be drafted as well. So I want to shout out Michael Strahan, Jerry Rice, Steve McNair, Walter Payton, Doug Williams, Shannon Sharp, and right now currently playing, we got Tariq Cohen, Darius Leonard, and Terran Armstead that are all from HBCUs playing in NFL. And tonight, the 2 prospects is David Moore and Brian Mills. So I just love seeing HBCU players getting to the NFL, but the fact that there were others before that, first of all, I had no idea that Strahan and Sharp went to HBCU.
Me neither.
So that's why I was like, what? So I want to give them a huge shout out, and hopefully the 2 prospects will be drafted tonight. So big up to them. Fahim?
All right. I just want to keep this shout out real quick. I want to shout out the Friday hardcores, Patty, Greg, and Prem. 3 hardcores with Mr. Duds that we get together on Friday. Salute to you guys. And let's put this episode in the books. That's episode 37.
Yes, y'all. So y'all know what to do. If you had a good time, please like and subscribe, and please share with a friend. What up for you?
That's right. You know where to find us. That's Good Rookies Podcast, episode 37. And we out.
Peace.